On Friday, April 15th, 1994, two surfers were out near Sunset Cliffs in San Diego, California, when they noticed seagulls gathered on top of what looked like a floating patch of kelp. When they paddled closer, they realized it wasn't kelp at all. It was a body, floating face down in the water. This is the odd and unsettling death of Michelle Von Emster. The body was brought to San Diego Lifeguard headquarters that afternoon. Michelle was found completely naked, wearing only a brass bracelet and 2 rings, with a butterfly tattoo on her shoulder and long brown hair. Medical examiner Robert Engel examined her almost immediately after she arrived and noted large, tearing wounds with missing tissue. Most of her right leg was gone entirely. To everyone standing there that day, the explanation seemed obvious. This was a shark attack. One day later, on April 16, 1994, a formal autopsy was conducted by medical examiner Brian Blackburn. The findings were brutal. Her right leg was missing from the middle of the thigh down. Her neck was broken, described as though she had been in a car wreck. She had broken ribs, scrapes, bruises, and contusions on her face. And sand was found packed into her mouth, her throat, her lungs, and her stomach. The report concluded that Michelle had still been alive when these injuries occurred. Blackburn established that Michelle had last been seen at 8 p.m. and placed her entry into the water around midnight. His final conclusion, reached after consulting lifeguards, harbor police, and marine biologists at Scripps Institute, was that Michelle had been attacked by a great white shark, forced under the water where she broke her neck and inhaled sand, and then died from blood loss and drowning. On the surface, it seemed plausible. But almost immediately, serious problems emerged with that theory. Blackburn, the medical examiner who reached the shark attack conclusion, had never seen a death caused by a shark attack before. Neither had anyone else who examined the body. And the experts at Scripps Institute he consulted never actually saw Michelle's remains. Blackburn went to them, described what he'd found, and they gave their opinion based on his description alone. Many experts have since rejected the shark attack theory outright, including Ralph Collier, a leading authority on Pacific Coast white shark behavior. After examining what remained of Michelle's leg bone, Collier noted that when a white shark bites through a limb, the break is clean, almost surgical. What was left of Michelle's femur was the opposite of that. It looked whittled down to a point, like a piece of wood shaped with a knife. Collier said he had reviewed close to 100 shark attack cases in his career and had never once seen a bone come to a point like that. There was also the matter of the sand. For that much sand to end up packed into her stomach and lungs, Michelle would have needed to take a large, deliberate breath at the exact moment she made contact with it. That detail alone struck Collier as deeply inconsistent with typical shark attack behavior. Richard Rosenblatt, chairman of Scripps Institute at the time, agreed. When he was actually given the measurements of Michelle's wounds, rather than a secondhand description, he concluded that none of the marks on her body were consistent with a white shark bite. If a great white had bitten her, investigators would likely have found a broken-off tooth embedded somewhere in the wound. No such tooth was ever found. There were bite marks on the body, but they came from blue sharks, and pathologists determined those bites happened after Michelle was already dead. Simple scavenging, not the cause of it. Rosenblatt made one more critical point. If a shark had taken Michelle's leg, it could only have been a great white. And since the evidence against a great white attack was overwhelming, that left the entire shark attack theory on very shaky ground. So if it wasn't a shark, what happened to Michelle Von Emster? Investigators and armchair researchers have circled around 3 competing theories ever since. The first is that Michelle went for a midnight swim, alone and naked, and drowned. Supporters of this theory believe she could have been caught in a current or a riptide, thrown against the rocks, which could explain the broken neck, and then scavenged by blue sharks afterward. It's a tidy explanation, except for one detail. The water that night was 59 degrees, and the air was 57. Michelle had last been seen wearing a green trench coat at 8 p.m., which suggests she was well aware of how cold it was outside. The second theory is that Michelle fell from Sunset Cliffs. A medical examiner who reviewed the case for San Francisco noted that her neck, rib, and pelvic injuries were more consistent with a fall or a car accident than with any kind of animal attack. Sunset Cliffs is one of the most scenic lookout points in San Diego, but it's also notorious for crumbling sandstone, and people have died there before. Under this theory, Michelle could have jumped intentionally, fallen accidentally, been struck by a vehicle, or been pushed, which leads to the third and final theory, that Michelle Von Emster was murdered. Several details support this darker possibility. The neighborhood she lived in at the time had a reputation for drugs and was nicknamed the War Zone. The fact that she was found completely naked is difficult to reconcile with either an accidental drowning or a shark attack. Though a lifeguard did once claim to have seen Michelle swimming nude, and a work acquaintance named Edwin Decker said in an interview that Michelle had a free-spirited personality and had told him she enjoyed surfing naked. Still, her friends never recalled her surfing, and local surfers in the area didn't remember ever seeing her out on the water. Perhaps the strangest detail in the entire case is this. Michelle's purse was found 2.5 miles from her body, sitting in the sand at the base of a seawall. Inside were her keys, her driver's license, makeup, and a fanny pack containing $27 in cash. The spot where it was found was a heavily trafficked stretch of beach, which makes it hard to believe the purse could have sat there for a full day without anyone taking the cash or the bag itself. That detail has led some to theorize that someone hurt Michelle, left her in the ocean, and deliberately planted her purse elsewhere to make her death look accidental. There's also an alternate explanation for the sand. Experts agreed that for that much sand to end up in her lungs, she would have needed to inhale it while submerged, something typically only possible at real depth. But if someone had held Michelle underwater in the shallows near the shoreline, that could produce a similar result. Only 2 unofficial suspects have ever surfaced in this case. The first is Edwin Decker, the same acquaintance who claimed Michelle told him she liked to surf naked, a detail that would conveniently explain how she was found. Decker said that the night before her death, the two of them had drinks together and had been flirting for weeks. He claimed they kissed at his apartment, and that Michelle left around 5 in the morning by cab, with a friend of his supposedly asleep nearby the entire time. After learning of Michelle's death, Decker wrote and later published a poem referencing her tattoo and describing an intimate encounter between them, phrased in deeply unsettling terms involving the shark that allegedly killed her. Despite the strangeness of his own account, Decker later partnered with an investigator around 2008 and wrote to the San Diego Medical Examiner requesting the case be re-examined. The second suspect is an unidentified man who had reportedly been stalking Michelle at her previous job at a coffee shop. Michelle told people she didn't know his name, only that he rode a motorcycle and that she had switched jobs specifically to get away from him. Denise Knox, Michelle's former boss at her new workplace, later recalled a strange visit after Michelle's death. A man came into the store carrying a copy of Michelle's autopsy report, asking to make additional copies of it. In 2014, Knox told a local reporter that the man was unsettling and that he, too, rode a motorcycle. So what really happened to Michelle Von Emster on that beach in April of 1994? Was it truly a shark attack, despite all the evidence against it? Did she drown while swimming alone at midnight? Did she fall? Or was she pushed from the cliffs above? Or was she murdered, her body left in the surf, and her purse planted to close the case before it ever really opened? More than 30 years later, nobody has ever been charged, and the strange death of Michelle Von Emster remains officially unsolved. What do you think happened? Drop your theory in the comments. And if you want more cases like this, subscribe to Mystery Minute. We'll be here every week, digging up the truth.